Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and I'm going to assemble the new Chipmunk MDF pieces. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's new Gnome Friends Chipmunk dies, the new Chipmunk Faces stamp set, along with their MDF Standing Base die. I'm using the Candy Cane Lane 6-inch pad from Doodlebug for one little part, and these are the MDF pieces that I'm putting together. There's a hanging one and a standing one. So first I'm using this patterned paper. This is Christmas paper, Doodlebug's Candy Cane Lane. I cut that out with that MDF Standing Base die. And there we go. And I'm adding Barely Art glue and assembling my base. Next, I'm going to put together my cute little chipmunk. This is cut from American Crafts brown cardstock. So you want to use a lot of glue. I use Barely Art glue. And then I tend to weight down my piece afterwards just to make sure it dries nice and flat. So I'm just trying to line things up. Now these ones are going to be Christmas ones again, but you can make these for any season. Remember, you can decorate your MDF or your tiered trays with your little MDF pieces, whatever you like. Put them on your mantle, put them on your desk, whatever. Okay, so next, this is the little body cut from American Crafts brown cardstock. I'm just going to line that up according to the stitch lines and the edges. Try not to let glue get all over the place. Next, I'm adding on, this is fine linen cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. I'm going to add that in on the tail. So that fits in. There's like a little stitched line, and you can, add it with, so it lines up with the edges again. There we are. So I'm using my Close to My Heart pad again. Reverse tweezers. Also, all my die cutting today was done with my Anna Griffin Empress, which is kind of what I always do. So now I'm adding on the little feet. There are standing feet and then there are sitting feet. I'm actually using standing feet for both of these chipmunks today. There we are. So super cute. Now I'm adding on the little belly that's cut from Paper Tray Ink fine linen again. So adding that on, and you can, you can see where all the edges are. You can see where the stitch lines go. It's very simple. So the face is cut out of that fine linen from Paper Tray Ink again. I'm going to add that head stripe on. That's American Crafts brown cardstock again. And you can see where that lines up according to that little tuft of hair on its cute little head. So we're just going to line things up, and I do weight it down with an acrylic block. There we go. Now I'm going to stamp the face. I'm using my Misty and some Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. There we are. And I'm getting my EK Success chalk just so I could see where the cheeks, the pink's going to go. And I'm going to put the pink on first. So that's EK Success chalk. And then I'm going to stamp the face in that Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. There we are. And I'll stamp it a couple of times. That's the nice thing about a Misty. There we are. And now I'm going to glue on the little nose. This is American Crafts black cardstock. There are two sizes. Just getting that in place with my embellishment tool. And I think this is R29, and I'm just going to use a little bit of Copic marker to color in the tongue. But, remember, it doesn't play well with Versafine Clair Nocturne ink, so I'm just tapping it on there and being careful. So I'm using a Sakura white Jelly Roll pen in a number 10 to add some highlights and freckles. And there we go. Isn't that cute? And now I'm going to stick down the little face onto my chipmunk again with some Barely Art glue. And, lining it up with the edges of the head there. It's pretty simple. Now you could decorate this guy up for Halloween or fall or Easter or whatever the heck you want, right? But I'm making these guys little Christmas ones because why not, right? Next, I'm going to add little pink ears. This is Sweet Blush cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. I'm just going to line those up with my reverse tweezers. There we are. And then I'm going to add in the little edges of ear that's cut from that same brown as the rest of the chipmunk. So we're going to line that up. There we are. And using my embellishment wand to pick up the pieces and get them in place. I'll use my fingers just to make sure they're exactly where I want them. And there we go. It is super cute, right? So now I've got little arms. I'm just going to glue the tops of them down because I'm going to add, have this little chipmunk holding a present for Christmas. So I'm just going to get them in place. There we are. Oops. Super cute, right? And there is my little squirrel. So I'm using this. This is called Bits of Christmas, Shape Sprinkles from Doodlebug. And I'm going to add in this little present. I'm going to slip it under his arms and get it in place. Whoops. I've got a little pen blade that I'm using. I'm going to slip that in place. And isn't that cute? Super cute. I'm going to add a little poinsettia for the ear, like it's wearing a little flower in his hair. There, so I'm going to grab this red poinsettia. And there we go. I love using Doodlebug shape sprinkles to decorate these guys. Okay, so next I'm going to get together my hanging one. This is trendy twine in like a red baker's twine. And I just cut off a length and I'm putting a knot in it. And then I will be adding that to my little hanging chipmunk in a moment. Just trimming off my ends. There we go. And now we will be putting together this other little chipmunk. Okay, so for this one, I'm starting with a black layer. This is American Crafts black cardstock. Now, you could cut this out of brown cardstock if you wanted to, whatever you want. So you could choose to layer things up so it's almost like a single layer, which is what I did on the other one, or you can, put all the layers. So now I cut out the chipmunk out of that same American Crafts brown cardstock and paper tray ink fine linen cardstock for the beige. So I'm lining things up here. I'm going to stamp another face on this guy in a moment, but we're going to put the rest of them together. So first I'm adding on his little body. And that is American Crafts brown cardstock. Just making sure things are lined up. Next, I'm going to add on the little tail, and that snugs right in along the edge of the squirrel little MDF piece and the edge of the body. It kind of fits in there perfectly, like a puzzle piece. So adding that on. Next, I'm adding on the little stripe. And the same thing, you can see where it goes according to the stitching on this. So we're just going to line things up, get it in place. So there it is. There. Now I'm going to stamp on a face. This is that same Chipmunk Faces stamp set and Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. I really like these closed eyes, like they're grinning with their eyes closed. I just think it's so cute. So I'm going to line that up. But I'm using, just sort of getting a look, and then I'm going to add some EK6S chalk to where the cheeks are going to be. Because this is a fake chipmunk, right? I can have blushing cheeks if I want to. Next, I'm going to stamp that face in that Versafine Clair Nocturne ink again. There we are. And isn't that cute? It's just adorable. I'm going to add some Barely Art glue and stick this face down, or head, I guess. We'll stick it down onto my base. There we go. There. And once I'm sure it's nice and straight, I will weight it down with an acrylic block. Next, I'm going to add on his little belly. That's that fine linen paper tray ink cardstock again. There we are. And next we will stick on his little black nose. That's American Crafts brown cardstock. I just think these little chipmunks are so darn cute. And I think kids would like to put these together. If they had one to go by, they could pull this off. Next, I'm going to add in my little standing feet. There, so lining things up. That is that same American Crafts brown cardstock. There we are. Next, I will add on my ears. This is that sweet blush cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. Again, using the exact same paper for both. So I'm going to add those on, and then I'm going to add on the edges of the ears as well. So just quickly adding on the glue to both of these pieces and adding on my little ear edges with my reverse tweezers. I just think this guy is so cute. I'm going to feed in my little hanging string. Now this could be a tag, an ornament, whatever you want, right? Hang it on your Christmas tree. Next, I'm going to add in some Sakura White Jelly Roll Pen number 10 highlights, and I'm going to add a few little freckles here and there. Next, I'm using this is called Shape Sprinkles from Doodlebug called Holly and Pine. So I'm going to add a little pine bough. I'm going to add a little pink berry. Then I am pulling in this is called Polar Pals, but really I'm just going to use the little pink berries from this to add a couple more little pink berries. I'm going to add one on the little pine bough as well, but I'm going to add some glue on it first, just to make sure it stays stuck down. Whoops, there we go. And isn't that cute? So he's got a little decoration. Next, I'm using these snowflakes. These are also from Doodlebug, but I don't know the name of these ones. I'm just going to stick a little pink snowflake down, and I'm going to pop up the little hands with Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, the miniature ones. And now it'll look like he's holding a little snowflake. Isn't that cute? I just think that he is adorable, and there he is. And look at, there are my two chipmunks. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, be inspired by the team, the Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on these amazing products. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye, everybody.